Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a little bit of technical analysis on Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency markets because Bitcoin currently finds itself in a very interesting pattern and an ascending wedge above this level of support right here and below this level of resistance right here. Over the last 24 hours or so, this pattern has become very apparent, and Bitcoin has been coiling in here and gaining a lot of tension, and I do believe that some form of a breakout is going to be coming over the next 24 to 48 hours. So in this video, we're going to be discussing which direction that breakout is going to happen, whether it be bullish or bearish, and then we're also going to try to get to the bottom of how large that breakout is going to be, and then we're going to zoom out and talk about the longer term time frames for Bitcoin and talk about the actual health of the rally that we are currently in. After that, we're going to be discussing the Bitcoin shorts chart, because as you can see on the Bitcoin shorts chart right here, Bitcoin added about 10,000 shorts in the span of 4 hours last night. In between about 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Bitcoin shorts jumped by about 30%. As we can see, they jumped about 50%, about 52%. Bitcoin shorts jumped. So we're going to be discussing this little spike in Bitcoin shorts price action later on in the video. But before we get into the video, guys, if you enjoyed today's video, definitely consider dropping a like, hitting that subscribe button, and smashing the notification bell, guys. It does help out the channel if you do it, so I would appreciate it if you did it. But before we get into it, I also want to explain why there was not a video yesterday. Guys, I want to make something very clear. I do try to put a video out every single day, and besides for the video that I missed yesterday, I've missed all of one video in the last 3.5 months. So I decided to go ahead and take that day off, and of course I know you guys aren't complaining about it, but I wanted to go ahead and explain that I decided to spend that day with some friends instead of, and I took a break from the daily grind. But anyway, that was what I wanted to talk about. Let's get into the video now. Bitcoin is currently trading at around $7,280, and if we come over here and refresh CoinMarketCap, we're going to see a similar figure, and Bitcoin is up by about 1.36% over the last 24 hours. The altcoins are doing kind of okay. We see more red than we do green today. We see two double-digit gainers, namely Hollow and Dropple. And we see one double-digit loser, namely Dogecoin. Dogecoin, the memeiest altcoin of all time, is down, unfortunately. That's very sad. But as we can see, the altcoins aren't really doing all that well. We probably see about 70 altcoins that are red and about 30 that are green. The altcoins aren't really getting slaughtered or anything. It's just kind of a neutral day with a slightly red tinge. But for Bitcoin, we see a market capitalization of about $125 billion, a very healthy market cap for where it is right now, and I think the price action is also rather healthy. Bitcoin's volume is also relatively healthy. This is a pretty average figure. In the last several months, Bitcoin's daily volume on average has been right around $4 to $4.5 billion. So there's basically nothing to write home about here. Bitcoin's dominance is coming down just a little bit. That's down by about 1% from where it was about a week ago. Not really anything to write home about there either, guys. But there is something we want to talk about them with total market capitalization, because total market capitalization is getting back to that coveted $250 billion level that we were hoping that Bitcoin would get back to. I would like to see Bitcoin get back to $250 billion, because that's where the cryptocurrency markets had been setting their lows for a long time, was down here around $230 to $250 billion. But in this last pullback that we saw, we actually pulled back down to about $191 billion. So to see Bitcoin get above $250 billion would just be one of those bullish signs that I would very much like to see moving on into the fourth quarter of 2018. Anyway, let's get onto the chart and talk about this ascending wedge, because there's a lot we need to unpack here today, guys. There is a lot of TA to do on Bitcoin today, so let's get right into it. Bitcoin, like I said in the intro, is currently in an ascending wedge pattern, and if you guys are not familiar with an ascending wedge pattern, basically it's a triangle where both of the trend lines are moving in the same direction. So we see this uptrend of support is an uptrend, and this uptrend of resistance is, well, obviously an uptrend. So we see an uptrend of resistance, an uptrend of support, and if you have that and they converge somewhere like over here, then that would be considered a wedge. And Bitcoin is currently in a wedge, and these two lines cross not that long from now, within 24 hours from now, within about 5 hours when this video goes live, because I record these videos a little while before they actually go live. So probably by the time you see this, Bitcoin may have broken out of this, and I'm expecting that Bitcoin is going to break bullish out of this ascending wedge pattern, and I think Bitcoin is going to break bullish. And one of the things that is interesting about that is that ascending wedge patterns are typically bearish patterns. Typically when you see Bitcoin or any other market in an ascending wedge pattern where it's bouncing around, going up and down, but it's still gradually trending upward, typically that breaks down. Probably about 65 to 75% of the time, Bitcoin or whatever asset you're looking at would break bearish out of that. But I don't think that's the case for this market right now, and the reason I don't think that's the case is because Bitcoin has already come up here and tested this level so many times. It's trading so much more around the level of resistance than it is around the level of support. And we've talked about before, guys, when you see a market trade around a level of resistance and it just keeps trying to get above that level of resistance and it can't do it, but it still nevertheless keeps trying, and the bulls still nevertheless keep pushing it up there, that's typically a very bullish sign. And the fact that we've seen Bitcoin trading up here around the uptrend rather than coming down here and trading a bunch around the downtrend, typically you can use that as an idea to, you can use that as an indication for which way the market is going to break. Another thing we want to point out is that this is a very well-defined uptrend. It's a very long uptrend. Starting back over here about 2 weeks ago, halfway through August, we have our pivot point right here, and then we have our set point right here, and another level here of resistance on it. And then we actually saw Bitcoin get above it right there, which is a very bullish thing because it means that we have had a little false breakout of it, which typically makes a level of resistance a bit weaker because the bulls are like, okay, well, we broke it once. What's breaking it again? So that's not a big indicator, but it is nice to see that Bitcoin did, for a time anyway, for a couple of hours here, get above that level. That, and also the fact that, like I said, we've been trading up here a lot more than we have on the uptrend, leads me to believe that we probably are going to break it. How far are we going to break above it? Well, that's kind of an interesting question. Let's get Bollinger Bands out here, and I want to show you something on the Bollinger Bands because excuse me, let me turn Stochastic RSI off. Let's get Bollinger Bands out here, and God, if you're wondering why that message is there, I have absolutely no reason to buy the actual TradingView app. A lot of people have been wondering why I don't actually just pay for it. I do pay for it, but I'm paying for the light version because there's literally no reason for me to. I'm not going to spend $10 on that. I'd rather put the $10 a month in Bitcoin. But anyway, with the Bollinger Bands, what we see right here is that Bitcoin is currently trading very high up here. It's trading out here on the outer band right here, and we're not overextended on the Bollinger Bands like we were back over here about a week ago, but we are getting pretty close. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you where I think Bitcoin is going to break to. I think we're going to break bullish, probably with about a 60 to a 70% certainty. I talk about in the course, and I'm going to be talking about, and I talk about in a lot of videos rather, that you don't want to just say that, okay, well, Bitcoin's going to break bullish or Bitcoin's going to break bearish. You want to say, okay, well, Bitcoin's going to break bullish with X certainty, or it might break bearish with Y certainty. You don't want to say 100% it's going to break in one direction, because inevitably you're going to make a call and it's going to be wrong, and you're going to end up not hedging your bets the way you should. So for about 60 to 70% likelihood, probably about 60 to 65% likelihood, I think Bitcoin's going to break up here based on the things I showed you earlier on in this video, but I don't think it's going to be a very big breakup. I don't think it's going to be a very big breakout, excuse me. I think it's probably going to end up breaking up here to around $7,500 to $7,600 at most. But nevertheless, I think we are going to see some bullish price action coming here in the next 24 to 48 hours. And one of the reasons that I think we're not going to be breaking much above $7,600 is because there's actually a level of resistance that we're looking at, which would be a downtrend right here, connected with this as the set point, and this is the pivot point, and this as the set point right over here. This downtrend puts Bitcoin having resistance right up here around $7,600. And if we turn our moving averages on, there's not a lot to look at up here. The 200 daily SMA is quite a bit above that. So that's the main one that I'm looking at, is that downtrend of resistance. Also, $7,500 is halfway to $8,000, so it's kind of a mini big even. $7,000 and $8,000 are big evens because they have 3 zeros in them. $7,500 is halfway through that, and based on the math psychology of traders, typically what you see is that people will put their trades around numbers like $7,500 instead of $7,324. Ask yourself, where are you going to put your trade? You're probably going to put it around a more even number like $7,500. So I would expect Bitcoin to break bullish here, and I think it's going to go up to around $7,500 to $7,600. Like I said, we have a certainty of probably about 60% on that bullish breakout, but we're going to see where that goes because that is probably going to be happening within the next 24 hours from when I'm recording this. There are a couple of different things that we want to talk about longer term TA on Bitcoin. Let's get Stochastic RSI up here because there's something I wanted to show you on the Stochastic RSI. One thing that I want to point out with the Stochastic RSI rather, is that Bitcoin's Stochastic RSI, I don't know why I keep saying stochastics is plural. One thing that I want to point out on Bitcoin's Stochastic RSI is that it's been sitting up here in overbought territory on Stoch RSI for about 18 days, I believe it was. If we come over here and you get your little measuring tool right here, we can see about how long Bitcoin has been up above this level. And it's been up here for about 16 days. Bitcoin has been up in the overbought region for about 16 days. And that's really something that you don't want to see on the Bitcoin market, because typically what that indicates is that Stochastic RSI is probably about to start coming down. And if it starts coming down, the only thing that's going to drive it down is Bitcoin coming down. So that normally indicates that we're going to see some kind of retracement coming over the next couple of days. And what I'm expecting to happen here, based on the Stochastic RSI and based on everything else that we've talked about in today's video, what I think is going to happen over the next 72 to the next 3, 4, 5 days, what I think is probably going to happen here is that Bitcoin's probably going to break bullish out of this ascending wedge. It's probably going to come up here to around $7,500 to $7,600. And then over the next week or so, the stochastic RSI is going to drag it down, and we're going to see a much larger retracement than we saw right over here, because this simply wasn't enough, guys. We've been trending up at a pretty nice rate over the last 2 weeks or so, and Bitcoin needs an actual proper retracement based on the fact that the stochastic RSI is oversold, based on the fact that the bears haven't really had their day in a little while, and we are in a bear market. Remember that. We are in a bear market, so the bears are going to have their day at some point. I think what we're probably going to see is, I don't think we're going to see it tomorrow. I think we are going to break bullish out of that ascending wedge pattern, but after we do, I think we're probably going to start coming down. That's my take on the market anyway, guys. Tell me in the comment section down below, as always, what you think. We're not done with the video, but I am interested to hear your opinions as always. One other thing I want to point out is it's been a very long time since Bitcoin has been up here this high up on the stochastic RSI for this long. I believe the last time it was up here for this long was back over here in early April, and that did happen during a sustained rally, but after its stochastic RSI started cooling off, so did the rally, and Bitcoin went down and made the lowest low it has in all of 2018. So I don't want to spread FUD. I don't want to make people scared based on that one technical indicator saying that, oh, well, Bitcoin's going to go down to zero. No, I'm just saying that Bitcoin probably is going to have a larger correction than we saw with these two red candlesticks right over here in the next week or so, simply because the stochastic RSI has to reset, and simply because a lot of these indicators have been bullish for so long. I think we are going to have a bit of a retracement. Anyway, I think that is everything that we wanted to cover on the chart. I don't believe I'm forgetting anything, so let's go ahead and talk about these shorts, because there is something we want to talk about with the shorts in relation to the longer term TA on Bitcoin as well. The first thing I want to point out is just how messed up this chart looks, guys. Over here in the beginning of August, Bitcoin started mooning in its shorts, and it jumped a lot. We saw Bitcoin jump about 123% in its shorts, from about about 17,000 shorts on Bitfinex up to a new high, or almost a new high, not actually a new high, but almost a new high of about 40,000 shorts. And these shorts absolutely crashed. We saw Bitcoin shorts come down to around 21 to 22,000. Despite Bitcoin actually moving up, not despite Bitcoin moving up, that's what we just saw. Bitcoin shorts were coming down, and Bitcoin itself, the Bitcoin price action, was moving north, which was definitely a very good sign indeed. But what we've seen over the last couple of days is that my chart is lagging, but what we've seen over the last couple of days, over the last couple of hours, is like I showed you at the beginning of the video, the Bitcoin shorts right here have absolutely skyrocketed. Let's see if we can get my chart to load. We can see right there, Bitcoin shorts came up to 40,000 and they started coming all the way down. And actually what we can see down here with the stochastic RSI, now one thing I want to point out is that things like MACD, RSI, stochastic RSI, moving averages, etc., these technical indicators don't work in the same way on the shorts chart, and they don't mean the same thing on the shorts chart as they do on the Bitcoin chart, because the Bitcoin shorts chart is not actually a price action chart. It's simply a chart showing how many shorts there are. Let me see if I can refresh my page. My internet doesn't like me today. Anyway, what we saw, interestingly enough, on the Bitcoin shorts chart is that stochastic RSI came way down here. And one thing you can actually kind of use is RSI. The RSI indicators you can kind of use to see. You can kind of use them in a similar way on short and long charts as you can on the price action charts. And we saw stochastic RSI come way down here, and that is indicative of the fact that shorts have been dropping very, 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 very quickly. Bitcoin shorts have been absolutely crashing. So we probably were expecting a rebound. Were we expecting 10,000 shorts to come back in the span of 4 hours? No, and that's the very interesting thing that we're looking at here. As far as I can tell, there doesn't seem to be a catalyst for this. Is it manipulation? One thing I want to point out, guys, is that I'm asking, is it manipulation because where else did this come from? But you don't want to do the whole manipulation of the gaps thing where you don't know why a market did something and cry manipulation. I see a lot of people fall into the trap of saying, okay, well, my technical analysis didn't work, ergo manipulation. We don't want to say just because we don't understand why these shorts jumped up like this, we don't want to just say, well, it must have been manipulation. Wells Fargo came in here and shorted the hell out of Bitcoin. We don't want to just say Wall Street did it. But at the same time, it is kind of curious that Bitcoin shorts jumped that drastically, that quickly, with really no catalyst at all. So definitely tell me in the comment section down below what you think triggered this. Am I missing something? I don't think I am. I don't think there was a real big news story or anything that would have caused this, and there certainly wasn't anything on the Bitcoin price action chart that would have caused it. But that's one of the last things that we want to talk about to wrap up the video here, is Bitcoin's price action during this time of the shorts jumping. Because as we can see here, Bitcoin shorts were jumping in between about 0600 UTC and about 1000 UTC, about 10 o'clock UTC. I guess I'll try and actually speak English. In between about 6 and 10 o'clock, we saw Bitcoin shorts jumping, and Bitcoin did drop a little bit. I believe that was right about here. Yeah, we can see right about here from 6 to 10. Bitcoin was dropping a little bit, and actually during most of that, it was actually rising. So Bitcoin was moving up despite getting shorted into oblivion on Bitfinex. Bitfinex shorts were absolutely skyrocketing here, and Bitcoin's price action was continuing to move up, and it started moving down a little bit right after those shorts peaked out. But that's something I want to point out because I've talked about this in a couple of other videos recently about how when you see the shorts chart and when you see the price action chart delineate from what you may expect to happen based on the shorts chart, then that does sometimes give you an idea of which side of the market is stronger, that be it the bulls or the bears. And one thing that does lead me to believe that we are also going to see a bullish breakout above this ascending wedge pattern is the fact that Bitcoin shorts absolutely skyrocketed here, which you would expect to crash Bitcoin because, of course, when you short something, you borrow an asset, sell it at market price, and then you have to cover it later. Normally, you would expect Bitcoin to crash from that, but it didn't. So what's going on here, guys? That's definitely an indication to me that the bulls are rather strong. Is it possible that Bitcoin breaks bullish out of this ascending wedge pattern? Absolutely, guys. I don't want to say anything that is not I don't want to say with 100% certainty that Bitcoin is going to break bullish or that it's going to break bearish. Like I said, we're expecting it to break bullish with about a 60 to 65% certainty or so. But anyway, guys, that's everything we wanted to cover in today's video. Tell me in the comment section down below, what do you think, guys? Because by the time this video goes live, we are going to have been broken out of this. Hopefully, I am correct and that Bitcoin is going to break north. If not, we're going to be catching up on that in tomorrow's video. Even if this has already broken out by the time the video has gone live, and I believe it will, tell me in the comment section down below what you think of the shorts chart, why you think that short spike happened, and why that actually occurred. And also give me your opinion on where you think Bitcoin is going to be going over in the next week or so, because like I said, I think Bitcoin is going to come up here, probably test this downtrend of resistance, maybe come up here around $7,500 to $7,700, somewhere around there, and then we're going to have that overdue correction that we've been looking for, because Bitcoin certainly did not get a big enough one right over here just a couple of days ago as August was wrapping up. But anyway, guys, I think that's everything we wanted to cover in this video, but that's going to do it for this video, guys. I want to thank each and every single one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.